No, because everybody in the group was there.
Testing, testing, testing.
It's they can be.
Okay.
Wonderful, here we go.
Okay. Do you want me to do just a little?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Just a little housekeeping. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Susan. I help with the communications for SPTU. We have a lot of exciting things to talk about tonight and a lot of exciting guests that came to join us. And I'm sorry, William's adjusting my camera. Okay. And just if you're in person and you need an agenda here, and we have a lot of information on the tables. So what we'll do is afterwards, when the speakers are done talking, you can come up after the meeting and pick information they point out. Okay, how does that? But right now, I think I'm going to turn it over to Almaz. Are you, or who's starting? You're starting. William's starting. So I'm going to turn this over to William. Here you go, William. Okay. Can you hear us now?
I was off.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was off. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who helped donate.
I don't know how it got turned off.
I pressed it off, she said.
Okay.
Help donate and whatnot. So I'm going to turn it over to Dom.
I want to recap what you just said for the.
Oh, I'm sorry for the people. Go ahead.
Whatever.
Dom, from Met Council, you're going to give us an update.
What you missed was the whole room cheering and applauding for everyone who helped make the Savoy Park Tenant Union an official 501c3.
Woo! Everyone repeat the same woo.
All right, you heard there, Zoom. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Dominique. I am a tenant organizer with the Metropolitan Council on Housing. If you will forgive me, there was some trouble with the 2 train, and I just ran here from the 135th Street stop. So basically what I'm here to tell you about is that Met Council has some ability to help folks. If you are a tenant and you have any questions about your lease, if you have any questions about your landlord, if you have any questions about repairs, HPD, how repairs work with the court system, you can call Met Council's free volunteer-run hotline. It's all throughout the week. You can go to our website. It's actually be printed on the back of my sweater here if you want to snap a pic. But that is run by volunteers that are tenants just like you. They've been through the ringer, whether it's they've been through housing court a million times, or they have an abusive landlord, or they fought to get their tenant association off the ground. There are tenants that are waiting to help you with any of your questions. So please feel free to reach out. The Metropolitan Council on Housing is New York City's oldest tenant union. We've been in existence since the 1950s, and we have been there on the front lines with pushing for housing for everyone. We believe in housing for people, not for profit. So I just want to say thank you to the Savoy Park Tenant Union for working with us this past year and some change. I remember the very first time I came to Savoy Park, there was a lot of issues. And I'm not saying that all of them are fixed. We still have a long way to go and a big hill to climb, but it is amazing how well organized you all have gotten in this past year. And I just wanted to tell you that as someone who works with tenant associations all over Harlem, some of them don't work out. Some of them go defunct. Some of them aren't able to stand up to a giant corporation that has endless funds to try to pressure you and attack you as tenants fighting for your rights. It is amazing what Savoy Park Tenant Union has done. And that is all you. It's not just the leadership core. They do a mountain's worth of work, but it's also you. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for having us out here. One thing I wanted to talk about, especially today, is a real quick recap on the Rent Guidelines Board. So as tenants in Savoy Park, you should all be what's called stabilized tenants. Not rent control, but that means your rent stabilized. And one part of rent stabilization means that your rent is only allowed to increase a certain percentage per year based on the Rent Guidelines Board for New York City and how they vote every year. So if they vote for a 2% increase for 1-year leases and a 5% increase for 2-year leases, you'll see when you get your lease back, your lease renewal, whether or not you're going to pick a 1-year or a 2-year. Lots of times tenants ask me, Dom, should I pick a 1-year or should I pick a 2-year? And the unfortunate thing is that as a tenant in New York City, you can't be sure before you pick what is the right choice, because how the Rent Guidelines Board works is this. There's 9 seats on it. 5 of them are chosen by the mayor. So if the mayor chooses 5 people to sit on that board and he instructs them to all vote a certain way, that's what's going to win, because 5 beats 4 no matter what. So what this means is that as a tenant, you have to look at who's mayor and who's in the mayoralty and think to yourself, are they going to jack up rents next year or are they not? Because if not, you might want to lock in for a 1-year because you can get a better deal next year. But if they are going to jack it up, then you want to pick a 2-year. So you're locked in at that rate and don't hit the extra increase. So there is no right answer. I want to let every tenant know this. You don't have the information to make the correct choice 100% of the time. But there is something that we can do. And that is, as voters in New York City, who is the mayor? So right now we have a mayor who for the entirety of this term has raised our rents. I also am in a stabilized apartment, has raised our rents every single year. But there is a mayoral election coming up this year. And what we are doing in Met Council is that we are pushing for a rent freeze. We are working with many other groups in a coalition called Housing Justice for All in New York State. And we are saying that if you want our tenant votes, you have to commit to 4 years of a rent freeze on the Rent Guidelines Board. That would mean that all of your rents would not go up for the next 4 years if that goes into place. And I always just like thinking about what I would do with that extra money because things are tight. And if I didn't have to pay that extra increase every single year, that would be more money in my savings account and I'd be able to catch up on a lot of stuff. So we are really encouraging everyone to come sign a petition. We are collecting signatures from all over New York City. We are up to into around 10,000 currently. And it's really impressive that so many tenants have been coming out and showing their support and telling these mayoral candidates, if you want our vote, you have to commit to this. There's no, I'm going to see how it is when I get in there. You have to make a commitment up front if you want our vote. So that being said, we have some flyers here for Freeze the Rent if you'd like to take it and learn more about our campaign. I also, apart from the sign-in sheets, which are also graciously signed, I have a hard copy of the petition here. If you'd like to come up after the meeting, ask me a little bit more about it and get to know, I would be very happy to explain it and hope to add your name to our list. So thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Thank you for SPTU for having me again. And hell yeah. Bye, Zoom. We love you.
Okay, now,
I'm considering work with Met Council on housing at the call center, and because of that, I found out that Savoy, the increase that they did for my new lease was above the guidelines for rent stabilized apartments by over $100 a month. So I would advise you all to check your leases and you renew them, and then if there's, maybe did that, you do my lease, and then give me a credit. So I advise you all to make sure you check your leases. If it's a 1-year lease right now, I think it's 2.5% or 3.5%, right, Dominique? And 5% for a 2-year lease. If it is above that, then you need to go to the leasing office and get them to redo your lease. So
he's talking about check your lease for the right in updates. That's what he was just saying. Thank you. Okay, next up we have Renard. There you are. Sorry.
So just really brief, what he's saying, it's really trying to be as blunt about this as possible and going to like the community board meetings and the community council meetings and even coming out to this kind of a meeting, we have got to show numbers. So I know that you all have issues with management, and we all have issues with management and security and maintenance and all this stuff. And we can continue to talk about it, but we really have to be about it. Like, we have to show up. They're not going to listen to 5 people. They're going to listen to 500. We show that. That's where our power is. So if we can continue to just put in the good fight, we've got a rally coming up this spring. We will, as many to tell your neighbors that you guys all come out for that. Unless we can actually show that we have enough people here that are tired of putting up with what they're putting us through and our quality of life, unless we can show up in numbers and say we are, they're not going to listen. They're not going to move. So I know it seems like it might be futile right now, or it might not be going anywhere, or it might just be a lot of talking, but we are moving behind the scenes. We need to see people here. And I understand it's right now as it warms up. Please tell your neighbors. We're going to try to do more door knocking. A bunch of us in the core team, we need more floor captains. We need floor ambassadors. We need floor representatives. People go to the door and say, hey, this is what I asked you to do. The interns. They're going to fix the dates. They're not going to fix what was the department. People. A number of people. As residents, we have got to stand. So please, I know it sounds like, I made this plea at every meeting. More people, get involved. Neighbors on the
I'm very sorry about that, people on Zoom. We lost you there for a second. There is so
Wait for the UPS guy.
taking a break here for the UPS guy coming through.
Thank you.
What am I saying?
We are back in.
What am I saying?
About the flyer.
Okay, so this flyer that I have here is just it's like a one sheet of when each meeting is going to be each month. So it's like once a month. We've got the community precinct, the community council meeting is the fourth Thursday of every month. The third Wednesday of every month is the public safety community board. Third Tuesday of the month, third Thursday of the month is the senior task force, and the fourth Monday of the month is the housing committee. I've got a handout, put it on your refrigerator so that you can just be reminded. A lot of these meetings are on Zoom. It works if you show up on Zoom there too. So just we need more numbers.
Thank you, Renee. Okay, thank you.
Turning it over to
Here you go, Almas. We are live.
Hi, everyone. This is Almaz. Good evening, everybody. All right, to back off of what Reynard said, we have had several meetings with both community organizers and our council members' offices, and the feedback that we continue to get is where are the people from your buildings? You guys have several buildings, you have a lot of people who live in the buildings, and if you don't have the numbers, the effect will be wrong. So to add, yes, there are a lot of meetings, and there are many. And you stay abreast of what's going on, then you can also tell your of everyone here, your faces. Some of you are dedicated, come every month, but the next meeting that we have, you need someone new. Okay. And the other thing you need is get on the email listserv. we have really ramped up the way that we communicate, and while flyers work, they tend to take them down. So we've been seeing them. If you don't catch it on the day that it's up, I think I speculate, allegedly, I don't know for sure, but I think some of the porters who are working here or other facility members are being asked to take them down so you not catch it. But the email, it'll always stay and you always get it. And we have community members and we have other on our listserv. So they're getting the messages. So that's the main way for everyone to get connected. So building organize into a chat, that's a great way to also communicate with everyone. So we're also asking people who are building floor captains, and it's not a lot of work. It literally is like passing information to your neighbor, having a meeting. Hey, I found this flyer. There's this document, right? We're gonna be very active in the summer. We have the rally that's coming up in April. So these are ways that the floor captains can help us. Any questions about that? So what's your homework for next meeting? And and email. Emails. Okay, yeah. So it's really through. You guys remember that? Okay. So I'm very excited to pass the mic to the next person, and then we have some special guests here.
Oh, okay. Everybody, can they hear me? I'm Matt. I'm Chinway. I live in building 30, Park Tenants Union, to create something kind of like so I know that we have a lot of problems that are based in from management, but there are issues that arise because of tenants' behavior, essentially. I know that sometimes there are some people in my building who say that there's no certain things, et cetera, and sometimes there are practices maybe tenants again just are assuming don't know what to do. Like let's say the trash chute, you're recycling trash, bring it downstairs. You should let your dog, for lack of a better word, shit outside on the ground. You should crap it up, get a piece of a doggy bag or something. There's other things about like security. Maybe don't let the door behind you just lapse open, kind of maybe close behind you, things like that. So Venice and I, another person in the, and it's gonna come together and we because it's a thing. So that means I want us to remember that ethics. So I can't say you will have like food and drinks, and then we'll just come together of just different things, maybe on cleanliness, on security, maybe different ways you can invite your neighbor, like when they first move in, of just telling them about the union, but just about different things in the neighborhood. Maybe going like for Presto for the breakfast burritos, because they're very good. Going to Pompet for the wine, et cetera, et cetera. So I would love for you all to sign up if you have time and to work with us. And if you don't, Susan has sent out a link of places, different ways to give suggestions for said code of ethics, and then we can keep that into the working meeting. So hopefully, does anyone have any like quick, take too much time?
Do you mind if I chime in?
It's a great way to get them involved
Mhm.
and let them know how we're trying to live in these buildings.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, new neighbors who are leasehold neighbors.
Yes, leaseholding new neighbors, yes.
And that's why we kind of want to shape the community here. So it starts with what Chinwei is talking about here. Right, so we would love, so if you guys could kind of like sign up to be a part of this brainstorming session, it gets you get to be able to kind of come up with some guidelines or some some ideas of how you want your neighbors to live and start somewhere like that is totally accountable.
Can y'all hear me? Hello?
Are you ready?
Hello?
So thank you, everybody. So if you got the email earlier today, we had mentioned we had some special guests. So I want to give some background. About 2 weeks ago, we met with Councilmember Salam's office, who's represented here today, with Shani Herrera and Samantha Lowe. They are here from the council member's office. And while we were there, they recommended a and Palante stands for that's right. People against landlord abuse and tenant with us. They want what their organization does and some of the things that we're thinking about in the future and how to organize together. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Elcia Vasquez. I'm the founder and executive director of Palante. How many of you guys are familiar with Palante? Okay, great. Hopefully you heard good things about the organization. If not, you're going to start hearing it now. But with me today, we are responding to not only the council members' request, but also the assembly member rights request that we come out and help you guys out. Palante is a special type of shop. We're located on 129, 130th in Amsterdam, right across the Manhattanville projects. And we're very passionate about the community. Palante is a grassroots tenant advocacy organization, meaning I feel my own landlord. Nobody wanted to help us, so we kind of just took it upon ourselves, just like you guys are doing, which I'm like really, really proud of y'all, for real. And we said, it can't be that difficult. And, we impacted change. We filed an AD action. We then filed what is it called, a lawsuit called Article 7A. And we organized 3 buildings. And in less than 12 months, we took all 3 buildings away from the landlord because the landlord was unresponsive. But with me today is the chief of staff of Jordan Wright. You guys know Jordan Wright? Okay, well, you want to say hello, Maurice? Anything? I'm going to say real quick because I know you're bouncing from meeting to meeting. But yeah.
Hello, good evening, folks. My name is Maurice Cummings. I am Chief of Staff to New York State Assemblyman Jordan Wright. It's great to be here this evening. Wanted to definitely stop in to get the information, meet the faces. We're happy to be back in the community, on the ground, doing the work. I actually used to work for Keith Wright as his special assistant for many years, and I can attest to the work that Palante does. I've known Elcia for about 15, 20 years now, from the very beginning, from the very inception. And I can attest to the work that they do. Extremely thorough. They care about the tenants. They care about making sure that folks are able to stay in their homes. And, they come to work to fight for the rights. So you've definitely got a fighter on your team. You've definitely got support and a fighter in Assemblyman Wright. And I look forward to, meeting some more folks, attending these meetings, and making sure that we are protecting one another, keeping folks in their homes, and making sure that landlords are not able to take advantage of us. It's a lot of greasy stuff, and I'm being blunt, it's greasy out here, right? So we got to make sure that we look out for one another. And without question, unequivocally, Elsie is at the forefront of that fight. So you guys are very fortunate to have her here. Let's just get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Maurice. Maurice and I, when I was looking for help, I landed in Keith Wright's office, and he was the first person that helped us. And so here we are, and changed careers to fight bad landlords. I only fight bad landlords, but most of them are bad, unfortunately. So. Oh, with me today is also Shani. You were the one that called me and said you have to come help these folks. Do you want to say a couple of words real quick because we have the commissioner here?
Oh, wonderful. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shani Herrera. I am the district manager for Councilmember Yusuf Salam. And I am here really just to support you guys. I think it's important that everyone lives the best quality of life that they can get. So we're here to actually do that work. I'm here with my colleague. I don't want to miss her. Her name is Samantha Lowe. And we're going to be working closely to make sure that, all your issues get resolved. So we're here basically for support. Have a great evening, everyone. And we'll be here if you will.
Right, so we met with members of your board of directors. We said last week? Last Monday, what? Already? Yeah. So, we asked them, we met, we learned a little bit about what's going on in the development, what kind of keeps you guys up at night, including the crime aspect of what we did, I immediately said to them, I'm like, when is your next? And they're like, next Monday. I'm like, it's a really short time, but we're gonna have next Monday, Tuesday. As it being a short time, but let me see if we bring resources from day one. Palante is a resources. You're not here to do, how can I say it, to become friends, it's about to just tackle the issue, neutralize the landlord with the help you guys, the tenants, teach you guys how to do it. And then yourselves are going to be able to get that level of respect that you deserve from your landlord. Because I really believe that someone from the outside doesn't have to copy you, but to give you the steps. So like I said to the tenants leaders, I said, I'll give you the pot to cook it. I'll give you the oil, the condiments, everything, just not cooking that for you. I'm going to watch you though, make sure. So that's how we do it. That's our model. So with us today, and not really, I'm really honored that this man actually stepped up. But have you guys ever met the deputy commissioner of DHCR? Do you guys know who DHCR is? Okay, you do. Okay, right. So these guys oversee rent stabilized apartments. That's what they do. They're neutral, of course, because landlords and tenants. But we called the deputy commissioner. He said, you know what? I'll come. And that you don't normally get. Sometimes you get a representative, you get somebody. He doesn't live in Harlem, he lives in the Bronx. So for all that said, can you guys give him a big round of applause to Deputy Woody Pascal? Come on over. He said, yeah.
That was the introduction.
That was the introduction.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Woody Pascal, and I am here with Justin Jenkins, who's the Deputy Director of our Uptown office. Justin, come here. Come here, Justin. Come on. Come on. Justin. So they can see who you are. So as Elcia said, I don't attend a lot of these types of meetings, but I do them because they're important. Now, I do live in the Bronx, but for those of you who know me, I worked here in Harlem for 15 years. First working for a then young state senator named David Patton, and then I worked for Keith Wright before moving on. I've been at HCR now for 15 years. I've been there. So I've been in government, I've been around for a little bit. The important aspect for each and every one of you is to file complaints, whether it's through 311 or through the complaints that we have in my office. You can either visit our website at hcr.ny.gov, and hcr.ny.gov, and I think you got or you can contact the office at 212-961-8930. It is important because I do know that there are a few building-wide complaints that are actively being processed now. But I'm interested in knowing what's actually going on in each individual apartment, whether it is vermin, whether it no hot broken windows, whatever that is. I came in here and I noticed this is a little off. I said, okay, I see there's a problem with the elevator door. Okay, those are the kinds of complaints we need to hear from you. Please file, and be on my back to ensure that we get them processed as quickly as possible. So I think, is there anything else you need to say?
Yeah, I think, if we could just talk about the quick top, in terms of what the rights are, right? So you have the right to lease renewal.
Yep.
A landlord cannot deny your lease even if you owe rent. Number two is if your children live with you and you decide to leave the apartment and with some crazy stuff, leave your kids, as long as your kids that lived with you for 2 consecutive years, this agency will grant the succession rights if the owner of this building denies it from you. You guys are familiar with succession rights, right? And also it goes even further than just, your children or your mother or your father or your brother, but you could also even have, what is it called, the interdependency, people that are just, couples that live together, have not gotten married. I mean, there's a lot to it. So our office can help you with that, but know that this agency is the one also that sends the orders that the landlords need to adhere to. Another thing is, individual apartment service complaint that he mentioned. We can prepare because we're Palante, Woody. So we brought in the checklist for people to fill out tonight so that we can submit all of the service complaints at the same time. You know, because if you submit at the same time, the agencies are gonna look and then they're gonna be like, okay, we can get all of these done in one shot as opposed to doing it piecemeal. So we're looking to do this for you to complete this as well as the representation form that Brevin is gonna hand out. And, you know, it's up to you guys, you know, their conditions, but let me give you an example. First of all, this is your home. You do not recognize your violations that easily than somebody from outside coming in. So for example, when I go to your house, I open up the door and that door doesn't shut right behind me. That's a violation. That's not, your doors have to be self-closing. Wow. Yeah, it's a violation. I mean, it's a dangerous violation. Because if there's a fire, that's where the fire is gonna go or exit from. That's what happened. What's the name of the building in the Bronx? Yeah. With the fire, the non-opening doors? Yeah, that's a big violation. I do not know what your floors, do you guys have wooden floors? You have parquet floors or tile? What do you guys have? Okay, so if you go to the middle of the room.
It's the tale of two cities here.
Okay, that's good to know. So if you go to a room, let's say you have wooden floors, right? Well, like this? Oh, I can't. You bounce up and down in the middle of the room? And if you hear yourself, that is a soggy floor. That's a violation, right? If you go to your kitchen sink, right? And you have the, what do you call that? The faucet, and you press it down and you see the water coming out on the sides, that's a violation. But you guys do not know this because this is your home.
How about peeling paint?
Oh, peeling paint for sure. You already know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, peeling paint. I'm just talking about like that these are less obvious to us because we just, you know, tend to do it. And then of course, you know, I call it the cousins that don't like to pay rent. You know who those are, right? There's the six-legged and then there's the four-legged. Yeah. You know, and this is New York City. A lot of people have it. In fact, I'm not trying to encourage you guys, okay? But what all of these things mean is that when you complete this, we're gonna go submit them all to 311. So we're gonna let HPD know, hey guys, these are the conditions of people's apartments. But that's the city. The city is going to force the owner, their C-class violations, to repair it. The language are given dates of when each violation must be completed and certified by. Then the other complaint, the same complaint, will then be submitted to Woody Pascal's agency. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna send their own inspectors. And then what they're gonna do, they cannot force the landlord to fix it. But what they will say to the landlord is like, you cannot collect the full rent. So let's say you're paying now, let's say you're paying 1,500 now. And then you were paying before 1,000. Not that it's long to big gap, but let's say you're paying 1,000. Now you pay 1,500. Your rent is gonna go back to 1,000 until all the conditions are fixed. Did you guys know about that?
No. Building wide. That's
Yeah,
building.
no, that's it. No, that's individual apartment service complaint, but also the building wide.
Okay.
But we do, from what I gathered, we made a different type of bill that for these buildings that would actually stick more to the conditions, like, you know, again, this is your bill, you guys don't see it. I'm an outsider, like the commission, our eyes are trained to see these things. To submit another building wide, and in order for you guys really gain the respect of a landlord, you have to do these things. If you do these things, he cannot collect the rent. The only way to motivate a landlord to make repairs is when you hit him in the pockets, unfortunately. The conversations are not gonna help you, not now, because they're gonna need to know how serious you guys are. So the organizing part is excellent. The Woody Pascal's office is actually located on 163rd West 125th Street. That's where you are, Justin?
Yes, in the state building.
In the state building, that's still on the 5th floor, right?
Fifth floor, yeah.
On the 5th floor. But you have to call in to make an appointment if you want to go over there. So, you know, it's up to you guys. If you guys want our help, we're here to help you. But know that Palante is a special type of shop. You know, we are about to just get done. And then once we do this, that's this is what we're doing now is just prepping the building. That's not the case. So I know that there are conditions about the security, you know, these other, but once we get you guys with your rent reduction, then we could do a collective HP and sue the landlord and help.
This is separate than what we've already done, or in addition to.
So if I could just jump in, the reason to one of LCS points, we want to fight on so many different fronts that they can't ignore it. So this is also a reason why we need, when she's talking about we have to cook, you guys have to help us spread the word and get more people on board with this so that we can cook.
The question is what?
Are the tenants responsible for the difference and from the time that the complaint is made to the time it's actually completed?
Well, have we issued an order?
No, I think
We've
it's just in
not.
general. by the
So
way.
in general, they're responsible to pay their full rent until we issue an order. There's a directive from the agency.
Okay, you please your question.
There's a tenant that's living with her father-in-law husband. But her name's not on the lease. Now, I know he's sick leave. And from my experience, I'm a health educator, if he passes on, she has to move because her name's on the lease.
No, not necessarily. If she shows interdependency, that one depends on the other,
Yeah.
then you could fight it. The person can stay in the apartment. As long as they've been together 2 years, co-occupied.
So my sister lived with, her father-in-law for 20 years and she had to leave after he moved out. That's right.
That's right.
She
She didn't fight it.
not legally, staying in New York.
You show it's called interdependency.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say I'm 90 years old. And I'm the auntie of my sister's daughter that I'm raising, right? And if I can show that I have birthdays together, Christmas together, you show the interdependency, and they have a mother-to-daughter relationship, and you can prove that in yours with your tax papers, pictures, what do you call it, your neighbors. There's a lot of ways of getting that back. So just because you're not mom, dad, sister, grandma, grandpa, there's a lot. And for those, I know seniors, we love seniors. I mean, I personally believe that I must have been in a few seniors there's such a thing as past life. But, with seniors, but, when they have their grandchildren or they have the children living with them, it bothers them not to have their kids on the lease. Landlord's not required to put the kids on the lease. However, there's a form. What's the form? You remember the form, the family composition form?
I believe that's RA-23.5.
Yeah, if you fill that out, they fill it out and they give it over to the landlord and they keep a copy, right?
The notice for succession.
Yeah.
Yeah, the notice of succession, you're already putting the landlord on notice saying, hey, these people live here with me. So there's different ways, establishing succession rights. You'd be surprised. And one of the key things is that, when you get the succession rights, it stays with the same rent. So if you are like, just say, for example, if you have SCREE, does anybody here have SCREE or DREE?
Very, yes.
Okay, so if you have DREE, right? And let's say, you go through succession and your child, at this point, the DREE would be like 90, the child would be 62 and over. He can transfer the DREE to the SCREE. So there is transferability of those benefits as well. So the risk is frozen. Are there any questions?
I have a question. I have a product for rent reduction and I'm on DREE. When I went down to DREE,
Yeah.
they looked at me like I had 4 heads. Nobody knew what to do with the order. They asked me why was I there?
You're supposed to deduct it from your own money.
No,
But
yes, there's an abatement that they give to the owner. But what they're supposed to do is roll it back also,
Right, but they're not gonna
sure that
roll
they're
it
not
back.
overpaying. No, they have to. They do it.
I
I'll get your information. I'll check.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
So we want to thank you guys so much for
Okay.
coming. Sure, appreciate your help. We appreciate all the help we can get.
Checklist
So,
and the representation letters.
so,
And when you guys fill it out, you guys, the group you
Uh,
guys can send it to.
Almaz has a question. I'm gonna,
Next steps here.
Yeah, so our next step.
Next steps.
Checklist. This is the checklist that you're gonna go, when you go upstairs to your house, you're gonna go room by room. Does anybody have any more than 3 bedrooms here? Okay, good. So you only need one sheet. Okay, I'll move it. So you're gonna fill out this sheet with all of the information, including the mandate, guys. Very, very important. And you're gonna have the representation letter we're gonna leave behind also. That's this. That's giving us the authorization to submit these complaints. And then once it gets submitted, well, what I'm thinking is collectively, you guys can collect it.
Yeah.
And then you guys can scan it and send it over to us. And then we get, your housing specialist for this building is Brevin. Where's Brevin? Brevin, say hello to everybody. Yeah, and I should have mentioned Orlando, our youngest intern. Did you guys meet Orlando? Orlando, come over here. This is the school now, but he's up tomorrow. This is, Orlando, our youngest intern at Palando. We're very proud of him.
Welcome.
Thank you for helping organize the building. Any more questions? We good?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
So we're leaving this behind. Brevin, can you leave the? Beautiful. And thank you so much for having us, guys.
Thank you. So, just one last thing. We have okay, sorry. One last thing. We have a ton of flyers and information up here, including our 3 steps to reporting issues and also the rent freeze information and everything that Palante and also Met Council and Housing brought. So feel free to pick up any information that you need.
Sorry.
That's
Also,
okay.
if you wanted to grab one for your neighbors, if you know a neighbor that you want to.
Okay, everybody on Zoom, we didn't have these electronically. I'm gonna get the forms electronic. Send them out, okay? But we're going to shut down. We appreciate everybody that attended via Zoom. And if you have any questions, please do reach out to us, okay? Thank you.
Talking about you.
Oh, one more thing, make sure that if you want to join the tenant code of conduct brainstorming session, you reach out to us so we can connect you, okay? Thank you.